You're listening to The Podcast. For grain merchandisers, by grain merchandisers. Join us in our good-humored attempt to serve as a voice of reason in an industry fraught with misconceptions and half-truths. And now, from deep in America's heartland, this is The Elevator's Cut.
Welcome back to another episode of The Elevator's Cut. I am one of your hosts, Jason Wheeler.
I am the second host, Roger Gattis, and today we're joined by a third host. Who we got here today?
We have Phil Luce, CEO and our boss at White Commercial. So, friend of the show. Yep. We were going back through our storied history of the podcast, and Phil's been on a couple of times, and his voice has been on extra times because one time we played one of his keynote type thing. Would you call it a keynote?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
But you can.
Have you ever done a keynote?
No.
What does that mean? You know words.
It's pianos, right? I think it means that you get paid to say something hopefully important at somebody else's conference, but I've never done that.
Okay.
I didn't know I got to be a host.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Listen, I mean...
all it takes is a microphone. You've got it.
So anyways, we're glad to have you. Thanks for coming all this way, joining us.
You literally flew in this morning. Literally. Just for this. That's true. It is incredible. The literally flying in this morning was not that big of a deal, but literally flying in just for this. Yeah, big deal. Well, the government shut down, so it is kind of a big deal. You did make it, so. Yeah, that was up in the air. That's a flight joke. Accidental flight joke.
All right, so Phil, I know we have very loyal listeners at this show, but...
Do you know that?
I'm told.
Randy tells us they're very loyal.
I think they live in China, maybe, but he argues maybe not.
In a storage unit filled with GPUs right now or something, I think.
So anyways, for those that maybe are tuning in on the radio dial and haven't met you yet, who are you? Where are you from? How'd you come into this business that we're in of helping grain elevators with merchandising?
Well, happy accident. I'm from northeastern Ohio, but I have lived in southeastern Florida since I was 10 years old because that's where my dad's from. And mostly people from Florida that move away go back there because, well, my dad went back there specifically because we were living in Tennessee and we had a real bad winter in Tennessee, which isn't normal. And he came in one day from work with icicles hanging off his mustache and running out of his nose, and he said, "We're moving to Florida." And I didn't know that he was from there or anything else about it until that day. But anyway, we did that. And then I ran into a guy named Don White through a completely circumstantial or providential turn of events, however you want to look at it. And I was 19 years old, going to community college, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And he said, "You're a journalism major. We've got this company. We write some books and newsletters, and maybe we could use some help with proofreading and stuff." And I said, "That's great," because I was a handyman at a horse stable at that time, and it was real hot, and I chased a lot of spiders out of the barn, and that was not that much fun, and it didn't pay that well. So anyway, came to White Commercial to proofread newsletters and books, and then I guess I hesitate to say if you just stick around long enough, they make you the boss, but that's what happened to me. So,
yeah,
there's only two steps to this game. Show up when you're 19 and stick around for a while. That's pretty much it. So, yeah, that's it. I guess I discovered basis trading by accident and found out that I love it, and so that's what we're here for. We're winning basis.
That's right. So yeah, I mean, Phil, you taught me how to win basis somewhat.
Me too.
And anyway, Phil, you were actually teaching. So I went to a master management conference. People are going to love this at home. Or in
their car, maybe.
They're not, but
wherever you enjoy your podcast.
I was at a master management in St. Louis, so I was staying inside for safety, and we were listening to you and Tracy Geis. I was. Do the basic workshop before the pre-conference, as they say. Yep. And that was when I was like, I think this makes sense now. So anyways, light bulb moment. That's what Roger always likes. So anyways, that was mine at the Hotel Marriott, Airport Marriott.
St. Louis Airport Marriott, yeah.
Yeah, in St. Louis. I think there was an ice storm going on, too.
Very appropriate for the St. Louis Airport Marriott to be in St. Louis. That's where I'd put it if it was me.
It's the best place. Anyways, So yeah,
We've known each other since
appreciate
we
you.
were children, pretty much. I know you get offended when I say that, but
there's a lot of truth to
we
it.
were both children when we met each other and got in this business, and here we are,
Mm-hmm.
slightly larger children.
Yeah, I was 21.
I was
So
19.
I mean, I'm not 2 years older than you.
No.
Oh, okay.
We started at different
All
times.
right. Okay, good. Just wanted to establish that. But anyways, so today we have a few items to bring up and discuss. We'd like to get, obviously, your thoughts, but mostly Roger and I wanted to, have
Not have to
thoughts
listen
too.
to it ourselves for once.
Yeah.
You can get some potent potables there, I think.
This is why your co-host. This will be a mix. We're not just going to act like we did, where we're just asking you questions and you have to answer in long form. You don't have to do that
All right.
the whole time. So
Short answers only.
no, I mean as long as you like, but we're gonna pitch in. So a couple things I wanted to get started off with is a couple of posts out there on social media world. Roger scours the social media empires for us.
Like a Brillo pad, baby.
And brings us some good stuff. But so do I occasionally. And so I had a couple instances here I wanted to run by you guys. So first, we had it's a farmer in Nebraska, and was talking about it was during harvest, November 3rd, more specifically for him, and it was corn harvest, and he's frustrated because you guys work with elevators, so you would know this. They had hours and they would close because like the employees wouldn't work 24 hours a day. And so, which is obviously, I mean,
I've heard of this happening.
Waffle House can do it. I don't understand. So he said, when are we going to just go to fully autonomous? That way I can deliver all the time. And then
The grades are much better too, I heard.
is it?
When you're grading your own, I don't really know how
Grade,
that works.
you grade yourself. That part's not
Autonomous, I
autonomous.
How would
Autonomous.
it work?
Huh?
How would it work? It just goes
I don't-
inside
am
the
I
building
using the
and-
wrong word again?
Gotta put
Phil's
this-
always got the
puts-
right words.
I don't know. No, I think that's right, but I was trying to imagine how the sample would be collected and things like that.
Autonomously.
Roger, how would it happen?
They take the sample and then they grade it. And you dump.
It goes through a tube.
You leave.
And clicks up on
Autonomous.
a screen. There we go. Anyways, but
It's not a hard concept, guys.
the grain business is a service business, and he was frustrated with the service, I guess, at harvest, and they were cutting hours too, and all that. So, anyways, that was that complaint, and so there's a lot to talk about of as far as things getting more automated at a grain elevator. I don't know if we go to fully automated. Maybe that's in the
There
future.
are some of those out there.
Yeah. Well, so we're already there. Never mind.
Would
already passed.
the inverse of that be that farm bin setup should be autonomous as well, so that when the elevator sends a truck out there and the farmer had to go deal with an equipment failure across town or something, that you can just load out of the farm bin yourself?
No, here's why.
24 hours a day? No.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The grain elevator business is a service business. The farmer is the valued customer, even though he's the one selling the product. He's the customer or she's the customer, and they have to provide no service.
The customer is the one who sells the product? That's okay.
And that's how it works.
Common sense.
Is that right, Roger?
Why not?
Okay. Anyway, so second part of this story, 2 days later, same account tweets out that, hey, there's corn everywhere. Picture of piles on there. We're putting corn places we never even put corn before because there's so much corn around, and there's still a ton more left to go in the field. Never seen it like this. Insane. So that's the second part of the story, is that while there are not enough hours, there's also nowhere to put the corn.
So, wait. Are you trying to tell me that the elevator cut hours because they were full?
I think we could maybe make that connection, is all I'm saying. So it may not be because they're just lazy and trying to.
Oh, they weren't just shutting down because they could and went home and did all that stuff.
So, I mean, if we're fully autonomous, I mean, there's got to be like markers that say, hey, we're getting full, and then maybe we can't take any more today, right? I mean, even a fully autonomous elevator might make that leap. Is that, I mean, can AI
Capacity is
learn that
finite.
much?
Grain storage capacity is finite.
That's
what
the
you're
best
saying.
way. I couldn't think of how
you
to say it.
guys even
You
know
said
about
it.
grain piles? You just keep piling it. Just keep piling. Just throw it out there on the ground. Just Pile bigger piles.
But you only own so much land that a four-wheeler can run around on, you know?
You just keep piling, right? Just up, higher.
Angles of repose.
I love that saying.
I do love it. I don't really understand it, but anyways.
It's when corn
the
avalanches
auditors do.
happen, when you break that plane.
Anywho. So yeah, I guess a lot of times the grain elevator business, the service of it can be
Hinges
overlooked.
on physical constraints.
It can be
Possibly
overlooked
at harvest.
maybe sometimes people are doing the best they can, right?
Yeah.
I get it. Like harvest gets frustrating for everybody, and but I just think a lot of so you got obviously people on Twitter that a lot of farmers, and there's commercial people, and the commercial people get like we're kind of bent to is like you get touchy, like, well, you're saying we don't work
Back
hard,
off. Yeah.
and because I'm here to tell you, it's long hours and difficult work at an elevator during harvest, and there are guys sleeping there. And even though they're not taking maybe your grain at all times, they're having to dry it at all times. And there's people, sleeping on the floor at the office
Dealing with
all
your
night
truck
long.
drivers.
And so
I can say that I've never spoken to an owner of a grain company who was happy to shut down during harvest. They don't.
Oh,
like
that's
it.
the worst thing. And
I think a lot of the employees are pretty happy because there are so many hours a day you want to work, and that's reasonable in my opinion. But I've never talked to an owner of a grain business who was happy to shut down. They don't like it. They try very hard not to, but the grain comes pretty fast. And as you say, there's limited amount of acres to put it on. Although I did years ago, I remember in eastern Nebraska there was an elevator. It was not a co-op. I thought it was co-op for a minute, but anyway, they piled corn on the town baseball field because there was just so much of it. They reached out, and I don't know if I can't remember. I don't think it was next door to the elevator. I think they had to take it over there and put it. But it was wintertime. It was fall going into winter, and they made an agreement to just pile corn on the baseball diamond because they didn't have any place to put it. So people do try to solve these problems, is what I'm saying. When an elevator closes down, it's not usually due to laziness or lack of concern in customer service. It's usually because everything's full and we can't get it out of here anymore.
yeah.
But it's human nature, I think, to assume that when you're inconvenienced, somebody else is doing something wrong. And I don't mean I'm not taking a stab at the person who put that on social media. I think we tend to think about, we judge other people by their actions and ourselves by our intent. So the intent probably wasn't to offer horrible service and inconvenience somebody who needs to dump corn. It probably was just no more place to dump corn.
Rogers taught me that everybody's playing different games all the time. And sometimes those games, they conflict at
Conflate?
Inflate?
Good thing we got a wordsmith here today as well.
Good thing about Roger is he just thinks any word can mean anything, which makes communication real easy.
Well, as long as we're in person, it's real easy. When there's text involved, it's not so easy.
That's for sure.
If any word can mean anything, eventually you have some word that means chaos but isn't chaos, because I picked a different one to mean chaos today.
What you got to do is first you take a word you want to change, you put it in an acronym, and then you re-release it as what you want. And that's how it works.
Rogers taught me.
I didn't even follow that.
Exactly.
Rogers taught me that acronyms are not the key to communication. they're the key to taking 17 conversations.
I've become so concise that I've become confusing.
Yes.
No. So as you get older, here's my thoughts on this. As you get older, you get more into what old people, they do Sudoku puzzles, right? Like you get and you do your crosswords and you do all this stuff. That's like talking to Roger, You get older, he just shoots his acronym that nobody's ever heard of before
because they never existed before.
That's it, yeah. And he just made up. And
somebody's got to be on the cutting edge.
But then you're like, okay, let's think through. Now I got to take a few minutes. Let's think of the context, what we were talking about, and what he could mean. And it's like solving a Wheel of Fortune type of thing.
There's just no prize at the end.
The prize is that you have to type a lot more than you wanted to explain to everybody what you meant.
The prize is, it's like if it's on Slack where there's a bunch of us, everybody starts guessing what it could be. And most of the people get most of it right.
Yeah.
And then eventually, if he gets back to his computer or off the phone again,
this is what it was.
Lets us know. But anyways.
Good times.
That's what acronyms are.
The definition.
So you can pronounce them however you want. We talked with Randy about that before the show started, so it's fine. Okay. Another thing on the lovely interwebs that I wanted to discuss was found a deal. It was a really well thought out analysis. Only a few minutes long video a guy put together of farm bins and what they cost and
This was a person in farming.
Yeah, yeah.
A
I mean, he
farmer.
wasn't in the process of farming while filming the video.
But that's what he did for
But
a
I
living.
believe
This is-
that's
okay,
his.
yeah. Not a commercial grain person.
So, I
So
think if you're a farmer, isn't everything you do?
is this like a kid thing, like with the aura farming?
Do I need to come up with an acronym right now? Because this feels like I might have to.
Okay.
It seems
know,
like
you guys
farming
are
to me.
over-
If I'm calculating the return on a farm bin, that seems like farming.
Seems like math,
Does it-
which we all know is not part of farming.
I'll allow it. Proceed.
Okay. So, anyways, I'll tell you the general story of it. He took how much the bins cost, how much he paid for them, did a straight line depreciation over 40 years, which is he thought was conservative for the useful life of that bin, and so it was like 7 cents for that, and then a couple cents for insurance. He calculated electricity and load in, load out. So a lot of like all the logistical costs that come up from year to year. He did all that. Came out to about 16.5 cents cost per year is what he figured the bins cost him. And then on the revenue side, he said, okay, well, what do they make me? Well, and to his credit, I would agree, like basis and spreads is what it makes you, which we talk about all the time, right? And so
This guy's trying to win bases, it sounds like.
yeah, with spreads.
We're in favor of that.
I like it. So he used the Dees July corn spread, the average over the years, like 22, 23 cents is what he said for an average carry that you would pick up by holding grain in your bins, corn in your bins. And then the average basis difference between harvest. If you didn't have grain bins, you'd have to deliver at that harvest basis versus what normal basis would be out in July. And so adding those up together is 41 cents better off from basis and spreads in his area, wherever that was. I'm not sure, but 41 cents revenue, 16.5 cents cost. That's 24.5
Why
cents.
can't you just round up or down?
He didn't, or maybe he did. I don't even remember. But you know me, I like weird numbers. It was a third of an eighth of a cent passed. And anyways, we'll call it 25 cents. So it's a round number. That more revenue than cost. Anyways, it's brought to my attention this post. But your thoughts? Is he calculating everything? Is that an appropriate return to bin space? What do you think from a farmer standpoint?
I feel like part of the story is missing or incomplete.
Okay, what revenue side, cost side, what?
Cost, money, pricing things.
Okay.
How do you lock in a carry? Ask the pro. How do you lock in a carry?
Do you just get it when you build a bin,
I actually talked with a guy
given the carry?
that is in the bin building business. He's very interested in grain markets. And he was curious about how this, why people build bins other than, it makes him money to do so. And this goes right into that, though. It's not, you can't just build the thing and it happens. You got to, there's some steps, intermediate steps. It's kind of like build bin, ? Profit. Well, what's the question mark part?
Mm-hmm.
It's all the things in the middle, right? So this guy's obviously missing the fact something's got to be sold. And
Well, he may or may not. I don't know he personally, how he does it. He didn't really address it one way or another.
Well,
but
something
he said
has
he would
to-
capture it. So
yeah,
maybe
it's
he
got
knows
to be
to do that.
sold. And then you've got the cost of whatever you sold carrying that time frame. The
One thing that
interest
comes to mind is that if the bin's full of corn, then the amount of money represented by that corn is not available. So you're either not paying off a loan with it or you're not earning another interest on it. So
It's also
probably have to
shrinking.
take that. Elevators call that the cost of carry or
Yeah.
the interest part of the cost of carry. They seem to think it's pretty important because they gave money to
The
someone.
lenders seem to
fill a
think
bin
it's
up with
pretty
corn.
important too. It's,
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take that because that's a good point, right? It's the value of money or whatever of not having the money until then versus having it at harvest. There's a value to that. What is it for corn? Like per month, 2.5 cents, something like that.
2-ish, yeah. It's probably a
Okay.
good number.
Call it you know me, I like half number.
Nope.
No, okay.
Just 2. We'll
2
go with
cents.
2.
All right. So if he's harvesting October, November, and he's, in his example, he's holding it till July. So that's what, 8, 9 months?
Call it 8.
8 months. So times 2, is this math, 16 cents? So of our 25 cents of profit we had, 16 of it's gone there. So now we're down to like actually 9 cents. Okay. So which is still profitable, you know, versus.
But did it meet the expectations? My guess is probably not, you know.
Right.
But it could have been.
Yeah. And we're not calculating. You had said shrink at one point there. That's not in there either. So
Yeah, it's involved in it. Cost insurance, all that stuff.
Quality risk over time, which is, of course, manageable. Is
That's
what
true,
people
yeah.
and I assume he had some labor costs built into that bin, and that was to take care of quality concerns. But that's a concern that's real. People in the grain industry, people who own bins, should be thinking about that because stuff can go bad in a bin.
The best it'll ever be is the day it goes in. I mean, that's just a matter of fact. The grain quality will never be better than the day that it goes in.
unless you have a sprinkler.
I mean, you can do things later, but that kernel right there is only going to get as good as it is that day.
Blend it
Did you
with
find
better
out
stuff.
if that picture you saw on top of that grain setup the other day was a water tower? It can't be, right?
No one else. I think
Surely not.
Putting water back
Here's what
in
I know about traveling the country and seeing old grain elevators. It can be anything. It might be an office.
The other thing that comes to mind with making money in bins is I don't think you can argue fairly that you don't get the basis improvement. In other words, in most cases, the basis in the summer is going to be a higher number than the basis in the fall. So that's true.
Whether you sell it or not, you're going to have
you're
a better
going to get
basis.
a better basis, so to speak. From a seller standpoint, you're going to get a better basis. But the carry is where it gets tricky. The carry is a concept. Carry is a relationship between two numbers. So if there's 22 cents of carry, that means at the time I look at it, the price of futures or even cash market in July is 22 cents higher than the price in the fall. So if I just wait to July, do I get 22 cents? Is that the...
You got to sell it now for
maybe
that,
not
to get that premium.
That's
right?
what I mean. It's the carry is not is a different concept than basis improvement, which you get. Interest is a fixed idea. It's a cost. It's price times interest rate. Pretty simple. But carry, did I say carry? Interest is a cost. Mm-hmm. Basis, you will get better basis. You will pay interest. Those two things are definable. Carry is not a thing that is just true all the time. And even if it is, a 22 cent better price, if the price drops 22 cents, is nothing. So that's not a thing you can just say I get by having a bin. You can't.
Well,
you don't know what that's going to be.
You can say it. People do say it.
You can't.
It doesn't make it
that's
true.
Fair. You can't say it and also it be true at the same time. You could say whatever you want.
Absolutely.
That's
I
fair
know
enough.
this.
Yeah. Yes, you would. You would know it. Yeah.
And and basis wise, also like you said, when you sell it, the basis number may be higher, but in a market, in a standard carry type of year, basis may improve in a market from harvest basis to when you sell it, maybe 30 cents,
Could be.
35 cents.
Easily.
Well, can the prices go down more than that before you sell it?
Easily.
I've seen it
Of course, and it happens a lot. So that's the thing is like if you're not locking in one side of it, the sale, you're just completely missed. So the best, so how an elevator does it, a commercial elevator that doesn't really care about price, they're price neutral. The grain comes into them at a price, they hedge it. They sell futures versus December. And then when they move their position out to deferred months, they do pick up that carry in the transaction, the futures transaction. That's where they pick up the carry. And then the basis they pick up as well because, the price isn't. So even if the price goes down $1, the carry goes away. If they've locked that all in, they still get it. So because they started with setting a price,
Right.
hedging a price right away.
And a lot of it is the words, right? People, we see this all the time, just even on the commercial side of things. Words mean vastly different things.
See it all the time talking to you.
Right. And it's a product of my environment, right? Because what we call this.
What the culture decides.
What is it? That's exactly right. What is it in the Dakotas? What do they call when basis gets very low? And they call it
Higher.
higher.
Yeah. The upper Midwest.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to figure this out, but I realized that even the elevators do it, but I think it came from farmers. They view basis as a fee. So you have a higher basis. If you're 40 under in Illinois and you're 75 under in North Dakota, you have a higher basis. You're charging more.
Right.
This goes right back to the name of this podcast, The Elevator's Cut.
Right.
So you say a higher basis. That led to some very confusing conversations with customers in North Iowa, in the Dakotas. They talk about, the basis got a lot higher. I'm like, well, that's good. That's what we want. No. Nope. It was 40 and now it's 50. That's higher. And so, yes, anyway, it can mean a lot of things.
Yeah, you've got all these things. So I think a lot of this comes back to when people hear prices. I think of all the terms we use in this business, I think that's the most easily misconstrued word or misunderstood. Because I have an idea when I say price, and you may have a completely different idea when you say price. Some people think price is cash price. Some people think price is futures. Some people think price is basis.
Some people say basis price, which really
I
have a hard time with that
multiple basi, as well. So all these things kind of lead into that. So again, it's this idea of not grasping what is told. You can sit and explain someone to something, but if they don't know what those words mean, this is the confusion that sets in, and you hope the person goes back to Slack to explain themselves. Mm-hmm. But there is a lot of that out there, and I think that's a big portion of this. I don't think anybody's necessarily saying, "Well, this is how I'm going to do this." I think they misunderstand the words around how to make things happen when it comes to making a bin pay for itself.
Correct. Yeah.
And too many times you see farm marketing advisors, maybe bin companies will say, "You, Mr. Farmer, need to start trading more like an elevator." I think that's completely backwards. It should say, you need to not do the things elevators, don't do. So elevators do, everybody's still so focused on, I need to be like an elevator. Okay, well, you need to start with stop doing the things that they don't do. Staying in the cash market. Get out of that. Not locking into carry. Stop doing that. Not hedging. For sure, stop doing that. So I think it just is looked backwards. We're too focused on got to be act like an elevator to capture stuff. Instead, it's like don't do things elevators wouldn't do. Don't DP your grain. Elevators would never do that. All these things I think would help make that case more understandable than this whole idea of you just got to be like an elevator. One
thing that I think makes that especially hard for farmers. Two things I don't know if you guys know. Number one, farmers are human beings.
Yeah, I've been told.
So that's an important baseline understanding. Number two, human beings as a species don't like selling things. Because if you sell it, you don't have it. We like to have things. We don't like to sell things. We don't like to sell real estate. We don't like to sell cars. We don't like to sell anything. So you're starting with this idea that the thing I have to do to lock in the carry, the only way to lock in the carry is to sell it.
Yep.
And one of the reasons you get a bin is because I don't want to sell it right now. That's the whole point of the bin is if I sell it now, I'm taking a lesser value. So that is not trying to pick on anybody, but that is a big mental barrier for people who are, if you're going to do elevator things, and to bring this around, I'm not just picking on farmers here. Elevators don't like to sell basis. They should sell basis way more often than they do, but they don't because they're human beings. We don't like to sell things. But the whole thing about making money in a bin is you have to sell it pretty early on. The way you get the carry is you have to sell the carry, and you can wait and see if the carry remains, but even the carry by itself could remain and the price gets worse while the carry gets better. There's a lot of things that can happen. So there's a big thinking shift from the bin, I'll build a bin and make some money, to I'll build a bin and I have to change the way I think about everything, which is true. We do business with people like this. We spend a lot of time helping growers who build bin setups learn how to be like an elevator. And it's tricky. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, well, you tell them, it's like, well, you did this thing, you built this bin so you don't have to sell at harvest, but I'm about to tell you, you need to have it sold by harvest to maximize your return to bin after harvest. And that's
sold before harvest. And
by harvest. It needs to be sold. And it's the whole idea. Well, I built these so I didn't have to do that. Well, actually, you need to do that.
So and here's the thing is, I've talked to farmers. They're like, okay, I see that. Yeah, there's carry in the market. I capture that. Basis improvement, I capture that. I see all that. That's good. I want to do that, but I don't want to sell it yet. You know, but I need to wait because the price always gets better if I wait till April or something. It usually our price gets a lot better around here or whatever. And or generally
these parts.
price gets better. So I don't want to. I want to do the basis and spread thing, but I don't want to sell it yet. And we can't do that functionally. But the other thing is, if I accept the thing, here's how you got to think about it. You got it. That April and May. You're right. That is when you should sell for next crop. And then when you get to next crop, now you've sold that high when the prices are high, and now you capture the basis and spreads. Like you said, you just got to have it done before it hits the bin.
Right.
Return it to the acre before harvest. Once harvest happens, the return to the acre needs to be done, and you need to return to your bin.
Absolutely.
That's essentially.
We run into a similar issue with people who have feed mills and build bins to source their feed mills. You think about what's the purpose of the bin is to own corn for the feed mill. But the right way to do it is to fill up the bin at harvest time and then give it to your feed mill throughout the year and treat those as two different things. It's really the same. It's just the converse of that. Is instead of bushels coming into a bin and going to a feed mill, they're coming out of a field and into a bin. And really, for maximum return, you should treat both of those businesses, each one of those businesses, as a separate thing.
Yes.
There's a bin function of my business, and there's a grain selling function of my business. And they shouldn't, even though it's all going to come to the same pocket at the end, optimally, they're two different pursuits. And that can be hard. We've seen people do it real well. We've seen people struggle for years to get their head around it.
Yeah.
What's the thing you always say about the vertical integration about like?
Oh yeah, vertical integration. Yeah, vertical integration exists to take the margins out of all of the businesses that are integrated, except for the one that whoever did it likes the best. So if you own a feed mill, it's not wrong. It's just how it happens. Yeah. But if you own a feed mill and you say, well, this feed mill is great, but I need bins because I don't need to go find this. I need to have a source of this stuff that's readily available. What tends to happen is you take all the margin out of the bin business, and then you have corn for the feed mill or whatever you need for the feed mill. But you can do it. You can say anything. I mean, a silly example at White Commercial is we used to print a lot of newsletters, and you can write up a newsletter and then take it to a print shop and have it printed, or you can buy a printer and print it in-house. And we didn't make any money printing. we bought a printer so that we could take all the margin out of the printing business. And so now we have this vertically integrated newsletter thing going on, and what we did was we just took some margin out of a printing business, and it just went away. So I like to think, I don't know if I'm right about this, but my economic theory of integration is all of the businesses should try to make money. Yes. And we've seen it be hugely successful in a lot of our customers that have feed mills. I'm going to operate my bin business how a bin owner would do it.
Right.
I'll operate my feed mill. My feed mill has to compete with my bins to buy corn. Has to be a good market, competitive with the ethanol plant, the river, and whoever else.
Throw in a trucking business with that, and it's even
everyone knows trucks don't make money.
But it's a deal. If you've got an entity that's got an elevator, a feed mill, a farm, and a trucking entity, the guys that do it well, and we have customers like that each of them are separate P&Ls, and they treat them as such. But we also have folks that just mash them all together, and it's like
the tendency is whatever you see when you look in the mirror in the morning is what you're going to focus on. So if you look in the mirror and say, "I see a feed mill operator," then that's the business where your time and attention and margin will go. And if you say, "I see a trucking company," we see it all the time. Whatever you think you are when you look in the mirror, that's where your margin, your attention gets focused.
I think we have a unique perspective on vertical integration because of the grain elevator business being completely price neutral. So as that middle thing between a farmer and, say, a feed mill, it is a completely different – we're operating on different things. Most vertical integrations you see don't have the capability to do that. So I think we're unique in that, but also, like, I don't know if we can see it better, I guess, from that perspective.
Yeah, and I think part of that goes back to what the business is we're taking a thing in, and the same thing is going out. We take corn in, corn's going out. So the businesses, they take corn in and chicken comes out, or whatever it is, so there's a little different view to it, I think, but it gets back to the price neutrality thing. If you can do that, but you can, try to attempt to do that with other parts of the business too, but have knowing that that's how that part works, I think it makes other things look the idea of how to run them separately is easier when it comes from and I'm going to pick on farms here, but the farm side of things, trying to make the switch over to the elevator side, that can be, I think, more challenging sometimes.
Yeah, and to be fair to everybody else, when we look in the mirror, we see people who are trying to make money with bins or help other people make money with bins. So absolutely, my perspective is heavily skewed toward, you got this bin sitting here, you should be maximizing the potential of that bin.
Right.
I don't know if you should or not, but to me, I think you should. That's what I've devoted my whole
the interesting
professional
thing
life
is that
to.
applies to any
exactly.
bin. It doesn't matter who owns it.
Right.
Farm owns it, end user owns it, elevator owns it. It's the same principle. It doesn't change for whose logo is out there on it. It's the same skills should be applied to that bin space.
Yeah.
Isn't it usually Brock or whose logo's on the bin?
Oh, there's so many.
I don't think it's the farm name usually.
GSI.
I have a very specific mind whose logo's on the bin.
There's some guys outside of town here we could take you to.
All right.
It's got the farm name on it.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I was just thinking about whose logo's on the bin. Sorry.
Well, that's
I don't know
really
what's
good
going on right
conversation.
You often don't.
Really good conversation. So I want
normal.
to change the subject, and so that's what we'll do now.
Let's do that.
Roger and I, we see things out in nature. People say things
Like brown snap.
because you can just say anything, and
You can
put
just
it
do
out there.
things too. It's
You can do things. You can say things, and sometimes people say things, and we all nod along because we've heard those things for a long time, and we don't know really what they mean when we get down to it. So Roger's brought to my attention a few things lately that we wanted to discuss and hear your thoughts.
Okay.
People say that they're trying to beat the market. What are we trying to accomplish? Have you ever beat
as someone who has obviously beaten the market, how do you do
Nice.
that?
the market or any market? Is there?
Yes.
Because there are more than one market, but there's a.
Is it
There's
a,
a
Well, you see
universal
this. People's
market?
like,
It's like
I,
churches?
I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to beat the market. I need to beat the market. What does that mean?
well, it implies that you're in competition with the market in some way. I don't think I've never looked at the market as something that is trying to beat me or I'm trying to beat it.
But it's a thing out there.
I've heard it, but I've never thought about it till now. I always saw the market as a tool to help me trade basis mostly. I guess if you're talking about any market, then
How do you beat the stock market with your 401k? What does that mean?
not in competition with the stock market. I don't know.
Is it like what the Congress people do with insider trading?
There we go.
No, they're winning the market.
I assume
and
it means
are they beating the market or are they beating other market participants?
Mayhaps.
I don't know. Maybe
does it
it's
mean
Warren
something?
Buffett. I don't
does
know.
it mean something
he wins
like
all the time though?
I made a decision. It has to be a buy or sell. That's what markets are, right? So I made a decision to buy or sell, and in hindsight, that decision was good because I bought something and now it's higher, or I sold something and now it's lower. Now I still don't know if in the broader scheme of things, if all I'm doing is trading that thing, then I made some money. But I still, if I'm, for example, running a farm and I bought some futures and they went up, I still don't know if I'm making any money farming or not. So I don't know if I beat anything that matters. But
Let's say you did. Let's say you were successful. You bought something low. You sold it high. That's a trick most people don't know, but some people do it. And let's say that meant beating the market. Who
lost?
Who's the other? How is the market in worse shape now?
Person that sold?
The speculators, obviously, is who you're beating.
But is the
Aren't
is the-
you
did
a
the market-
speculator?
Did the market lose?
Absolutely not.
If you bought it and then sold it,
It means the fact that you beat the market implies that the market lost. Yeah, I think that's a sense that doesn't mean anything.
why?
Here's my idea.
Okay.
Here's what I think people are meaning when they say
Arbitrage.
this.
Is that what they mean?
Probably. I've heard that word too. Arb and Luke's. I think what it means is someone is taking a buy or sell, whatever they did, and comparing it to some arbitrary random time when the market is favorable compared to their position.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's a single day, maybe that's an average over a time frame, but I assume that's what they mean, but I don't know that. But for the people that actually think through it and can say, yes, this is what I mean, there's 1,000 others that don't know what that means other than I just need to beat the market.
Yeah.
I need to beat the market.
Does it presume that the market is trying to beat you?
I assume, would you beat something that isn't
zero
a threat?
sum? We know about that. We're futures brokers.
Yeah.
It's a zero sum game.
Also, non-aggression principle. I wouldn't beat something that wasn't trying to beat me. That's just morality at that point. But so a farmer harvests his grain this year, and price wasn't any good. I just put it in my bin. I didn't sell anything. I'm not trying to get basis and spreads. I just put it in my bin. Now price went up. Did he beat the market? Maybe.
I'm trying to figure out if the market lost in that scenario.
I mean, market.
I don't know if you could beat a
'cause
thing that isn't competing with
right,
you.
so
Can the
the-
market win or lose?
the price went up because the market wanted more corn, and then it got it. So I think maybe the market won.
Here's the
I
deal.
think
No one
it's
knows.
arguable that the market always wins, but it's also more strongly arguable that the market is not competing with you.
The house always wins.
Fair.
I've been to Oklahoma. So next on my list is
Let me interpret that for you.
I grew up down there. So this is something we hear a lot, different versions of it, but I quote, I find the grain markets interesting. Yeah, you know, that's me, right? I mean, that's the business I am in. People have said that for 100 years, as far as I can tell. What does it mean, though? What's interesting about the grain markets? That it go,
Which
they
market is it?
change?
Is it the futures market?
Just
Do you think?
markets in
Grain
Or
markets.
any market?
Any
There's
for grain?
multiple markets.
There's many markets, yeah.
But
flea markets. I find those interesting.
Let's give this person the benefit of the doubt.
always.
Let's say that there is a constant interplay between people who need grain and people who have grain, and depending on whether the person who needs to sell the grain needs to sell it more than the person who needs to use it, or vice versa, things change, and slowly but surely the grain finds its way from producer to user, and sometimes through an incredibly long chain of events. And there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of guessing about which party needs to do the thing more today. Does the seller need money for the product more than the user needs the product, and et cetera, et cetera? That's the most positive interpretation I could give of that. Is I find that economic interchange interesting. I don't know if that's what was meant
But
by
why
that.
grain specifically? Doesn't a lot of markets?
Every market
every
does
market
that. That is every market.
Okay.
Have you ever been to a yard sale? That's very interesting.
I think it's
Hey,
pretty
I
obvious.
have
Bid ass spread
I
on
have-
a pair of old jeans. Holy moly!
I don't think there's any question at a yard sale which party needs to do the thing more. The seller is desperate to get rid of things. I
Listen,
think that's a very one-sided market.
you wouldn't know
many a
that when it
yard
comes
sale.
down to the haggling, though.
Many a
It's
yard
incredible.
sale, I can confidently say I beat the market. Very well.
Oh, you can.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got an entire set of like name brand golf clubs for like $10, dude.
How does that beat the market? Obviously,
know.
that was the market because
Let me
that's
tell you
what
what,
the exchange happened.
Those
at.
people,
like this,
they lost.
exchange.
My wife, I found out recently, doesn't understand that yard sale prices are negotiable. We went up and saw my mom and dad, and they go like every Saturday. My mom likes to go to yard sales, so we went to a bunch, and she's just looking at the price as marked and saying, "Well, that's too much for that," and just didn't know that you're supposed to offer an eighth of that or a tenth of that or a nickel for whatever's out there.
This is a starting
And
point.
not
Say,
not
hey.
only that, she doesn't like it. So that was
Can you believe this?
yeah,
Get
she
outta
misunderstood the whole. She is not interested in that market at all. She hates it. Turns out,
So that market beat her.
some people are less
guess.
passionate than others about markets. She's not. That's what I learned. But yes, if you find the grain market interesting, then you should. I think you're just saying you
You
find
should go yard selling.
you find economics, the simple supply and demand economics interesting. I think that's what it is. Although I want to argue that the movement of grain markets as an industry or as a culture, we've tricked ourselves into thinking that there's a ton of logic behind all of it. And it's really not the supply and demand. It's a bunch of people's perceptions of supply and demand and emotional reactions to supply and demand. And those are impossible to figure out. So my
You're
advice to
saying
you,
there's no formula for this stuff?
I'm saying there's no formula. There's not going to be one. And things don't happen for as logical of reasons as you want them to. And you should stop trying to figure that out.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's why. Yeah, a lot of people think there's something mystical behind. Like, man, this market's doing that.
More than that,
market's doing
I think
that.
even worse than mystical, I believe that there's a significant chunk of people who think there's something rational behind it. And probably at the highest conceivable level there is, but day to day, a big move isn't caused by rational things. A big move is caused by mobs of people reacting
You act like
to
you've
something
never
and then
taken
reacting to
information
each
and
other.
yeah.
A college econ class.
First
it's rational.
First it's a reaction to a news item or a weather thing, something, and then it's reactions to reactions.
Yeah.
And now we've just got a bunch of people reacting to each other, and the primary cause is long forgotten, and we're trying to ascribe logic I suppose on some level it's rational in the sense that I really want to get rid of this thing now, so I'm going to sell it as fast as I can.
Rational is a word like prices. What does it even mean?
Whatever you want it to.
Exactly. So you just never can win.
I do think there's a big culture that exists around the concept of grain markets are interesting. I'm passionate about them. I find them fascinating. I find them intriguing.
All that stuff.
And
right.
I got to say, for better or worse, I don't. I feel that way pretty strongly about basis, which is of course a market, but it's a market that is a little more identifiable and
has seasonal patterns to it.
I'm speaking to my bias, no question.
Yeah,
but I don't
me
find I've been in the broker business for 30 years, a little over 30 years now, and I don't find markets interesting at all. not futures market. I find
they're
basis
just a tool. It's like, do you find a crescent wrench that interesting?
Right.
Would you, if it's a tool you use for stuff? Maybe you do.
I want to build the thing with bolts, but I don't care about the wrench that much. That's
where you get to. I mean, you just like watching numbers on the screen so much and looking at charts so much that you start, all the technical trading world and all this stuff. I guess those people are really interested in markets. Look, it did this, and then it did that, and then it made a shape of a thing that I like, and I'm going to call it something, and maybe it'll do it again, and it's crazy. But I say that, and then but we put value lines on our basis charts. It's like, okay, it does this.
It means
and then
something
it does
to
that,
somebody who'd come up with it, right?
Right.
I would say that it's not. We have our biases. I think they're obvious. I don't think anybody has to guess what our biases
are. And we
are.
apologize for them.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But we're aware of them. We know that they exist. And I don't think it's a moral failing to be interested in technical trading of any market. I think it's fine. I don't think it has much place at all in making money with the grain bin.
Right.
I don't think it comes into play. And that's why we are how we are, because that's the way we live. Yes, or farming at the end of the day is a production business. Easy for me to say, but that's right. Farming is a production business. You have to have revenue in excess of costs, and futures market's a part of that, whether you like it or not. But I think a whole bunch of time spent on that is not the way to make money in a production business, for better or worse.
Okay,
can concur.
Well, I had a couple other real thought-provoking things, but in the interest of time, we better.
What does that even mean?
Randy says we should keep going.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, Randy.
He's just going to edit out he's going to edit me out of this podcast, and then you guys will be good.
Okay. Well, do you guys want to go a little bit more?
Let's do it.
Okay. This one is, Roger, you're going to have to guide this ship here. But this is when there's never a right time to do things. This is, we're getting into more serious things now.
Or less concrete things.
There's never a right time as a thing that you read somewhere?
I did. I just put it down.
Roger,
there's never a right time. Just the idea of there's never a right time. And
like if you're going to have kids.
People talking about when to have kids or get married or whatever.
You came up with this. You're saying.
I didn't. I heard it somewhere and stole it and wrote it down.
Is it related to you can just do things? Are they related concepts?
Possibly. Could be.
Okay.
Now that you say that, it could be. But, there's never a right time. And I don't even remember who to credit this to. It was an article I read over the weekend, and it might have had something to do with risk management. Can't really remember now. So many sleeps. But
one sleep is all the sleeps.
Yeah, that's the mini for one. More than zero. The idea there's never a right time. It just kind of struck me as, I think in our business, our line of work, working with grain elevators, there can seem like there's this idea that, well, I've got to do things at the right time. And that makes sense. That makes perfect. And there certainly are. But I think in general, when it comes to planning or helping people understand, walking through, how's this been paid for itself? What do I need to do? This idea of there's never a right time. Maybe a better way of putting it is there's never a good time. It still has to be done. Just because there's never a right time for something doesn't mean it doesn't get done. It still has to be done.
So the context there is big decisions.
Yes.
Maybe. Because there is a right time. For example, if you look at your position report and you're out of balance by 20,000 bushels,
need to do that.
The right time is right now.
Right. But some people would say that and be like, well, I got to go dump this truck and do this and stuff, and it's 1:15, and it's not the right time.
It is the right time.
Exactly.
I don't think that's arguable.
There's this idea, though, that I've got these other things happening. I can't do this thing right here, whatever it is right now. And you can apply it to anything in the business.
But probably the context of that is some big thing. Like you said, it's not the right time to have kids, not the right time to start a business, not the right time to move, it's not the right time to do whatever thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true.
Right. So I don't know where this leads. It was just an idea. We were scrambling for topics for
well,
today,
maybe it's in selling decisions and things like that. a lot of guys struggle with making decisions about that. Like you said, it's nobody likes.
I'll
to sell
call you. I'll
things,
keep an eye on
right?
it and call you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whether like you're a merchandiser saying, should I go ahead and pull the trigger on this spread? It's pretty good, but make it better. So maybe I should wait. I can beat this market. Stuff like that.
It's pretty interesting.
Something that Don White told me that changed my life, and I don't know if people know. If you don't know, we work for White Commercial Corporation, which was a company that was started by Don White. So there's no us without him, and he had a lot of important ideas. But the one that changed my life personally, and not just mine, but a lot of people's, is the value of making decisions, because we don't like to decide things. Regret aversion is a huge motivator in the human mind, which is to say that the prospect of wishing I hadn't done something and how that's going to feel if I wish I hadn't done it that's going to be so bad, I'd rather not do it than I don't have to regret it. I might have to regret not doing it, but that's a different thing. If I don't do it, then something happens, then something happened to me. But if I do whatever the thing is, and then next week I say, oh no, something changed, and it would have been better if I waited, or I spent money I didn't have to start this business. Now I'm in trouble, whatever. The looking forward to the possibility of regret, I want to avoid the regret so much that I'll just do nothing. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but what he said was most people are just not good at making decisions. And it's not the right time is part of it, because it truly is on some level never the right time.
Right.
But also,
that's the thing. There's never a right.
You never get anywhere. You never get anywhere if you don't make decisions.
Right.
So
you have to do it eventually.
He told me something I didn't understand, which was, he said, I kind of made a game out of making decisions. I just make a decision, and then I move. Now I'm living in that world, and now I make another decision based on the world I'm living in now, and you just keep on branching off. Who knows what would have happened, but here I did these things, and now I'm making the next decision based on where I am because of the previous decision. And that's in the top 5 concepts that have revolutionized my whole life, and from the giant decisions to tiny ones, is just decide. And maybe the decision's no. It doesn't mean you always have to do the thing. Is it the right time? I decided it's not. Okay, good.
Right.
Now that decision's made. I don't have to. Now I'm not worrying. Do I or don't
Yes.
I? I decided no. Now I'm proceeding down that path of no, and I'll have other decision to make over here. And you just keep making it. It's the uncertainty I've found is so much worse than regret. Just what am I going to do about this? Just decide. And of course, take your time. It's not just just flip coins. I mean, you're thinking it through, but that's true. There's never a right. It always could be better. Right? There's never a right time, because if I make this decision,
know the future.
You can't know the future.
Yeah.
So maybe there will be a different, better opportunity, or maybe all of a sudden I'll buy this house and I'll lose my job. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But the chaos of am I or am I not going to do it is miserable. It's a horrible way to live.
It seems like to piggyback on this idea, I guess maybe, is risk management too often is construed or interpreted as
beating the market.
Uncertainty management.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is impossible.
You can't remove uncertainty.
You can't remove uncertainty, but people are saying, "Well, this risk management requires this," and people say, "Well, that's
what if this other thing happens?"
Exactly. Yeah. If you're what if in risk management, that's not what
you're not managing risk.
Right. That's exactly right. Right.
You can remove the small uncertainty of, if we're talking back to hedging, am I hedged or am I not hedged?
Sure.
I'll remove that uncertainty. I'm hedged. Does the market go up tomorrow and I wish I would have waited? I don't know. That's not the game we're playing.
Yeah.
You'll never remove that uncertainty.
Yeah.
And the way you navigate that in your life for ultimate happiness is you make decisions.
Right.
I think.
And hedge.
I think this realm of the world that we live in with grain prices and even basis and spreads, like they're volatile in that they're just moving constantly. So you can and a lot of times you're making partial decisions. I'm going to sell this chunk of grain or I'm not, or whatever. So I've got more to sell. So you're constantly it's easy to look back on that sale because you're still in that world and you're going to beat yourself up about it. Whereas like if I buy, some jeans at the store, I'm not checking their website in 2 weeks to see if they had a sale on them.
In our world, you're forced to look at it all the time. That's kind of what you already said.
Yeah, I'm just not. It doesn't bother me. I buy a house and like, what's the value this month? Like I don't know. Yeah. But the grain thing,
you have to look at it every day, every single day. I talked to a customer this last summer. The guy was in Michigan, as it happens, and made a good corn. He's an elevator guy, so he owns some corn in a bin. Saw a value that was really good, sold the value, and he sold it. I'm going to make up these dates, but sold it in March for a June shipment. We got to June, basis is 30 cents higher, which is, for those of you who don't know, in the farming world, 30 cents could be a lot, could be a little, but in the elevator world, it's a huge amount of pennies. It's 30 cents is so it feels horrible. I mean, this guy's a good basis trader. He's one of the best, I think, and he made money. He made good money, and just looking at, I could have made half again. Maybe I made 50 cents, and I could have made 80. That's just never going to feel good. But one thing that's really important with that whole concept is this idea that because something better came along, what I did was wrong. Whereas it wasn't.
Right.
Made a good margin, even above average margin for the elevator in this case. It was a good decision. It was a money-making decision and felt horrible at the same time.
Right.
Those two things have to coexist because there is uncertainty you don't know. I think it's important, though, to reframe the idea of right and wrong. Was I wrong to sell my ownership, sell my inventory at a good margin? Was I wrong because if I waited, it could have been better? I'm going to say to you that that's not wrong. It sucks. It feels bad. You can't say, "Oh, don't worry about it." You're going to worry about it.
Sure.
But was it a mistake? It wasn't a mistake. It was a good business decision, and it turns out with the knowledge of hindsight, it could have been better.
Right.
But you don't know that.
And a lot of times those type of scenarios seem to be, when you have someone saying, "Well, should have sold. You should have waited." If one person would have waited, maybe. But imagine if everybody had waited and no one sold ahead. And all, I mean, it's like then you got all the realities of life in the grain business, logistics and cash, all these things come into play at once. Do you think there still would have been an extra 30 cents ahead? Not just you, because you had special knowledge, but if everybody was on this mindset of waiting and seeing, what do you think would have happened?
Yeah, and another lie.
You got even higher.
That's right.
That's exactly what I was getting at.
Another thing we tell ourselves, this is a human being thing, again, not farmers or elevators or anybody else, but if I wouldn't have done the thing I did, I for sure would be doing the thing now.
Right.
If I didn't sell $3, I definitely would have been selling $4. Well, I'm going to submit to you the same mindset that didn't have you selling 3 would also not have you selling 4, and everybody falls into that. But that's the thing we tell ourselves because we're in the middle of regret and we're feeling like I made a mistake. I read a call log from an internal note from us today about a grower who used a minimum price contract and got a return on it and felt good about it. So, well, maybe I should have just done nothing because I spent the money on that call and the market went up. Maybe I should have done nothing. So it was a mistake. Was it a mistake to do this because now that I know what happened, maybe I could have done it a little cheaper? Same idea.
Yeah.
There's no way that knowing a thing you didn't know before made the previous thing wrong. It may make it look worse, but it doesn't make it wrong. A business decision is that you make with common sense and math and awareness of the market and safety in mind and running your business that produces the results you wanted isn't wrong.
And I think the folks that are good at this business know how to handle those situations and learn from them, recognize it, and move on and not dwell on it.
It's a vital skill. You have to be able to do that.
Well, the situation you said, hey, I made 50 cents, was good, moved on, could have made 80. That sucks. You remember that and you kind of are frustrated by it. If that same situation, you make 50 and then a couple weeks later, the basis breaks 30 cents.
Yeah.
It's a completely different. I mean, you're like, but
I'm glad I did that. But
I'm glad I did it, but you're not like, jumping for the moon, like
Right.
I'm the best thing there ever was. You're not doing any of that. Right. Whereas the flip is like, I'm the biggest idiot that's ever.
Yeah.
Well, so you beat yourself up over ones that don't pan out as well, but the ones that do, you don't really.
We hate to feel
well,
regret.
and again, this is human nature, but then it becomes not, hey, look at me, I won. It's like I should have sold more. So there's still a little bit.
That's right. That's exactly right.
There's a little bit.
100%.
There's still regret, remorse. So it's a human thing. You can't.
We just regret everything all the time.
Things. We regret something different.
I used to say this when we go out and do meetings for farmers or for our customers sometimes. Yeah. We talk to groups of farmers. And when I was younger and dumber, I guess, I would just say, you just got to get over it, which is just a ridiculous thing to say to a group of people who are living in this emotion of it's just horrible. The fact is, it is going to suck.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to make a bunch of money, make a bunch of good decisions, and feel horrible about it. And that's just true. And you have to be okay with those things coexisting. I'm profitable in my business and I regret a thing I did, or I feel bad about a thing I did because I could have done a better thing. You can't, it's silly. It's immature and silly to say, just don't worry about it. You're going to worry. I mean, you're going to worry about it. That's how we're wired that way. But they can't let it stop you. Back to where I started. You can't let that stop you from making decisions. That's where the wheels really fall off.
Yeah.
Is if you let that stop you from making decisions.
Yeah. And back to what you were saying, the decision to not do something is different than kicking the can down the road. Those are two different things. And I think a lot of folks, humans in general, but mainly maybe the industry we work in, that they see, well, this kicking can just
isn't a decision.
Right. Yeah. And
I would maybe even argue that it's not if you don't say it to yourself. In other words, if you say, we'll just wait and see,
which says
is a different thing than I'm not going to sell today. That's a decision.
Yes,
okay, great. Now at least you made a decision. This whole I'm not going to say no, I'm not going to say yes, I'm just going to wait and we're going to watch, going to keep an eye on things. You don't always have to be doing something, but I think it is more valuable to say to yourself, my decision today is no.
Yes. That's
a decision I made. So you're not just, everything's not floating around all the time.
I think a lot of originators would benefit from reframing things in that way instead of, their interaction with the producer and them saying, oh, I'll just keep an eye on it or I'll watch it or whatever. They need to say, so you do not want to sell today.
You're deciding to not
and have them answer you. You're right. Just like you said, it's a reframing. It's hearing your own self say it.
Is moving from subjectivity to objectivity.
There you go.
And so, if you can say, all right, I'm not doing this thing. Okay, what are you doing? Well, I want to address it again in a month. Okay, let's write that down and we're going to do it then. Or I want to sell it when it gets to this price. All right, let's write this down. Let's make a decision about what the next decision is going to be. Your decision today is no, it doesn't work. So what's the next decision? When does it happen or where does it happen or whatever?
And what's interesting, the folks that and a lot of people don't want to make decisions, but when you keep kicking the can down the road, you're forcing more decisions upon yourself as you go through time.
Yeah.
And if you hate decisions, that's probably something you shouldn't do.
Welcome to this episode of The Psychologist Cut, everyone.
That's right. So Randy didn't think we would actually go this long. We got a little more than he
should know
bargained
us
for.
by now.
Yeah, that was a mistake. So anyways, Phil, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Friend of the show, friend of us for many, I guess, decades
Employment?
now. Yeah,
Yes,
for
yeah.
employment.
That's also a good thing.
Now's the
I
time
feel
of the
like
show. We're going to ask for raises. So just whatever. No.
No, seriously.
No, we appreciate you coming out. And it was when we get on the decision topic, I feel like you're our expert. You're our
Don White was the
decider in chief.
Yeah.
Well, it's a life-changing,
Next
truly a life-changing
generation.
concept. I believe in it.
But it's really, it's valuable stuff, especially for our business. So, anyways, so hope everyone enjoyed all the talk. But
I don't care if they did.
that's all we got.
I think they will.
Hey, so I will say Merry Christmas. It's probably this coming out December. Doesn't matter because it's been Christmas for 2 months in my book already. But hey,
This is true.
So, all right. Well, that's it for us. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next
Now
time.
we pretend to write things.
As always, thanks for downloading and listening. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with folks you know in the business.
And if you'd like to reach out anytime about anything at all or have any show ideas, you can always find us on Twitter @ElevatorsCut. Follow us there, tweet at us, DM us, and we'll always respond.
Till next time, for Roger, I'm Jason.
And for Jason, I'm Roger.
Thanks for listening to The Elevators Cut.
Out.